On October 9, 2025, President Donald Trump made headlines from the White House Cabinet Room, a place where many important decisions have been announced throughout American history. The air was full of excitement as the press gathered, cameras flashing, waiting for the president's next move. Surrounded by his closest helpers and a crowd of press photographers, Trump signed a paper that would officially say the second Monday in October was Columbus Day. This act wasn't just a normal step. It was a planned and very public move, meant to send a clear message to the country. The signing was more than just a regular action. It was a direct answer to years of strong arguments and disagreements about the holiday's place in American culture. For many, Columbus Day had become a hot topic in the ongoing talk about how the country remembers its past. Trump's words were clear and easy to understand. "We're calling it Columbus Day. We're back, Italians. We love the Italians." His statement was met with nods and smiles from the audience, especially those with Italian roots, who have long seen Columbus Day as a way to celebrate their gifts to America. Clapping followed, showing strong support for what he said. The room filled with approval, as Trump's message connected with those who felt their traditions were in danger. This move was a call to action, confirming a view of American history based on old ways and love for one's country. Trump showed himself as a protector of what he called true American values, speaking to those who believe in honoring the nation's founding stories. The timing, just days before the holiday, was smart. It was part of a bigger effort against what the government called woke new ways of looking at history. By acting now, Trump wanted to set the mood for the national conversation and take back control of the story around Columbus Day. Trump had promised Columbus Day would come back months earlier during campaign events and interviews. This was him keeping that promise. Supporters saw it as proof that he was willing to take big steps to protect their values. The event was carefully set up to show strength and connect deeply with supporters. Every detail, from the flags to the list of guests, was chosen to make the message of coming together and pride even stronger. By making the decision seem like he was defending heritage, Trump touched a deep feeling of cultural pride among many Americans, especially within the Italian-American community. For them, the holiday is not just about Columbus, but about being seen and respected. This was about more than just a date on the calendar. It was about who gets to tell America's story, which heroes are celebrated, and how the nation chooses to remember its past. The announcement started a national discussion again about history, who we are, and the values that make up the United States. To really get what Trump's announcement meant, it's important to look back at the long and complicated story of Columbus Day in America. This holiday, which is now a regular part of our federal calendar, has roots that go way back in our country's past. It shows how our feelings have changed, the cultural battles we've had, and how America itself has grown and changed. To understand how Columbus Day became what it is today, we need to go back to when it first started, and what things were like in the late 1800s. Back then, the country was changing fast, and new groups of immigrants were trying to find their place in American society. The holiday started in 1892, celebrating 400 years since Columbus landed in the Americas. President Benjamin Harrison made an official statement asking Americans to celebrate. He hoped it would bring people together and make them feel proud of their country at a time when things were uncertain and people were divided. This was a really big deal for Italian Americans, who were facing a lot of unfair treatment, bad feelings, and even violence. The official statement was one of the few times their community, which was often pushed aside and blamed for things, was actually recognized. For Italian immigrants, Columbus became a powerful symbol of pride, strength, and belonging. Celebrating his story was a way for them to show they had a place in American life and to honor their background, even when things were tough. The Knights of Columbus, a Catholic group, really helped push for the holiday. They worked hard to turn Columbus Day from something celebrated only in certain places into a national celebration, focusing on both religious and cultural acceptance. In 1934, President Franklin D. Roosevelt officially made Columbus Day a federal holiday. This was a huge win for Italian Americans. They saw it as proof that their contributions mattered, and a step toward being more included in American society. The holiday kept changing. In 1971, the date moved to the second Monday in October, which gave us the three-day weekend we have today. This made Columbus Day an even bigger part of American life. The story of Columbus Day shows not just how Italian Americans fought to be accepted, but also the bigger story of immigrant groups trying to get recognition, respect, and a feeling of belonging in the United States. The holiday's beginnings are deeply connected to the story of Italian Americans and their ongoing journey to be seen as a true part of America. In the end, what Columbus Day means has always been about more than just Columbus himself. It's about who we are, being recognized, and how America keeps changing. Trump's 2025 proclamation was a direct message to Italian Americans. His words, "We're back, Italians, we love the Italians," recognized a group that has strongly defended the holiday. Many Italian Americans have felt like targets as Columbus statues were taken down and parades were canceled. Trump's statement made them feel proud and promised to support them. For many years, Columbus stood for Italian success and hope. The yearly parades are more than just parties. They show off their background and family pride. Trump's move was both a way to protect their culture and a smart political plan, aiming to get a loyal group of voters on his side. He presented the argument as protecting tradition against what he called extreme efforts to erase history. For many, his words were a welcome stand against changing history. Trump's Columbus Day proclamation used strong, respectful words. Columbus was called the first American hero and a smart person whose bravery helped shape the country. The proclamation said it was wrong to try and get rid of Columbus's importance, calling those who disagreed mean and cruel. It ordered American flags to be shown on all public buildings, making the holiday a celebration of our country. The message was clear. This government would not change its old-fashioned view of history. The proclamation was part of a bigger plan to teach about patriotism and fight against what Trump called ideas that cause division. This came after other orders and checks on national groups, all meant to bring back truth and common sense to American history. The holiday was changed to be a time for the country to think about new discoveries and bravery. Trump's position was a public announcement of what his government wanted to achieve. While Trump celebrated Columbus, a growing movement told a different story. For many, Columbus's arrival marked the start of colonization and suffering for indigenous peoples. The push for Indigenous Peoples Day began in 1977, aiming to honor Native American history and resilience. Activists highlight Columbus's brutal treatment of the Taino and the devastation brought by European diseases. Cities and states have increasingly replaced Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day, reflecting a shift in public sentiment. Supporters see the new holiday as a chance to celebrate Native cultures and acknowledge historical injustices. The movement seeks a more inclusive and honest national narrative. President Biden took a new path in the ongoing discussion about Columbus Day. He tried to deal with the complicated and often sad history behind the holiday. Instead of just picking one side, his team aimed to recognize both the importance of Italian American heritage and what indigenous peoples have gone through. In 2021, Biden did something new by putting out two separate official statements. One kept the tradition of Columbus Day alive, honoring the contributions and pride of Italian Americans, who have long seen the holiday as a way to celebrate their culture and achievements. The other made Indigenous Peoples Day an official federal observation, formally recognizing the suffering, strength, and rich cultures of Native Americans. In his Indigenous Peoples Day statement, Biden directly said that European settlement brought a lot of destruction and loss to Native nations, including moving and erasing Native communities. This was a big change in how things were said compared to past governments. By recognizing both holidays, the government tried to make a careful agreement, respecting the long-standing Italian-American tradition, while also acknowledging the pain and history of indigenous peoples. This double recognition was meant to help different communities understand each other and talk, even with their very different views. Many people praised Biden's move as a thoughtful and fair step. They saw it as a grown-up way to let different histories exist together and to encourage kindness across different cultures. But the decision wasn't without problems. Some progressive people said it didn't do enough to fix past wrongs, while some conservative people saw it as an attempt to lessen or get rid of Columbus Day completely. The Biden administration's way of handling things showed just how hard it is to find common ground in a discussion shaped by hundreds of years of history, identity, and feelings. In the end, Biden's position showed a more detailed and open understanding of American history, one that tries to honor many stories instead of ignoring or getting rid of them. The ongoing disagreement over these holidays really shows how tough it is to bring together different stories. but also how important it is to keep trying for more understanding and respect. For many Italian Americans, Columbus Day is a symbol of bravery and cultural pride. They see it as a way to honor a visionary explorer and celebrate their community's journey in America. Supporters say it's not fair to judge Columbus by today's rules, highlighting his role in connecting continents. The holiday shows how they fought hard to be seen and accepted after many years of unfair treatment. Those who defend Columbus Day see efforts to get rid of it as a tax on their heritage. For them, the holiday is about never giving up and finding their place in America's story. Trump and others believe defending Columbus Day means standing up against changing history. They think celebrating Columbus is super important for national pride and keeping traditions alive. Many people say it's time to face the sad history that Columbus represents. They point to old records that show violence, slavery, and many deaths among the native peoples. The idea that America was discovered makes it seem like there weren't already strong civilizations here. They believe celebrating Columbus keeps alive a harmful story that focuses only on European views. When Europeans arrived, it brought terrible diseases and caused a huge drop in the native population. For these critics, honoring Columbus is very disrespectful to Native Americans. They want to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day to help make things right. This would officially recognize the strength and history of America's first peoples. The Columbus Day debate is about more than just one person. It shows how America struggles with what it believes about itself and its past. Different groups remember the same events in very different ways. Understanding these different viewpoints is super important for a healthy society. History is complicated, and we need to see both the good things and the bad things. Looking at tough parts of history helps us grow as a country. The goal isn't to pretend there were no disagreements, but to understand them and respect that people remember things differently. The stories we tell help make us who we are and shape the future we build. This ongoing talk makes us listen, learn, and really think about America's complicated story.